give praise, esteem, and honor to the Most High Yah by way of YAHUSHA HaMashiach. And look at Exodus chapter 12. About 12. And 12. And then we'll move it on down a little. Matter of fact, make it 12 and about 21. That's even better. I ain't got to do all that. Then Moses called for all the elders of Yasharal and said unto them, draw out and take you a lamb according to your families and kill the Passover. And you shall take a bunch of hyssop and dip it in the blood that is in the basin, and strike the lintel and the two side posts with the blood that is in the basin, and none of you shall go out of the door of his house until the morning. For Yahuwah will pass through to smite Mizraim, and when he shall see the blood upon the lintel and on the two side posts, Yahuwah will pass over the door, and will not suffer the destroyer to come into your houses to smite you. And you shall observe this thing for an ordinance to thee and to thy sons forever. And it shall come to pass, when you be come to the land which Yahuwah will give you according as he hath promised, that ye shall keep this service. And it shall come to pass, when your children shall say unto you, what mean you by this service? That ye shall say, is the sacrifice of Yahuwah's Passover, who passed over the houses of the children of Yasharal and Mizraim, when he smote Mizraim and delivered our houses, and the people bowed their head and worshipped. And the children of Yasharal went away and did as Yahuwah commanded Moses and Aaron, so did they. And it came to pass that at midnight Yahuwah smote all the firstborn in the land of Mizraim, from the firstborn of Pharaoh that sat on his throne, unto the firstborn of the captive that was in the dungeon, and all the firstborn of cattle. And Pharaoh rose up in the night, he and all his servants, and all of Mizraim, and there was a great cry in Mizraim, for there was not a house, for there was not one dead. And he called for Moses and Aaron by night, and said, rise up and get you forth from amongst my people, both you and the children of Yasharal, go and serve Yahuwah, as ye have said. Now, we're looking at verse 29, right? So we're seeing what the purpose of it is. What would stand out to you in verse 29 right there, or what was spoken? Oh, my bike. What stands out in verse 29? It's something that should stand out in verse 29. And on the throne. Firstborn that was on the throne. So let's look at something in John chapter 1 about verse 14. He say all of them. He said at midnight he smote all the firstborn. Now what's going on at midnight is dark, right? We know that it went dark, not at midnight, but at noon. You know what I'm saying? From the 6th hour on to the 9th hour. You know what I'm saying? He calls it to go dark, the same way. So when we sit back and we look at the correlation, that's what we see. We see the masters getting slain. What is Pharaoh? Let's look at Pharaoh real fast. Let me look up the word Pharaoh real fast in this book, just so you can see where I'm going with it. When we look at Pharaoh, it literally means great house, the common title for the king of Egypt. So him of a great house. Well, before we look at John 1 and 14, let's look at John 14 and 1. We read that in Hebrews 3 last night, right? By the great house. So he say him the great house had even him who sat on the throne, his firstborn were killed. So when we looking at a great house, we see in the similitude of the father who sit on the throne, his firstborn was killed. Let not your heart be troubled. Ye believe in Alahym, believe also in me. In my father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there you may be also. So we sit here telling him if his father's house got many mansions, this is a great house. So even in the midst of, on the reverse side, come and say and tell you, every plague that hit Egypt or hit Misraim is every plague that hit the son himself. You know what I'm saying? So when you turn around and look at it, you see the father literally offering a firstborn son in the law before you see Abraham offering up Isaac. You know what I'm saying? But after that, you see it again, I should say. You know what I'm saying? Abraham offer up Isaac firstborn in the law. You turn around and see Yah do it again in the law. So when these dudes be like, how could he do that? It's in the law twice. It's two witnesses bearing witness to this. He say everyone from the on the throne to the captive in the dungeon. We'll look at the captive in the dungeon in a second. So look at John 1 and 14. Make it 12. I can't help you, little bro. Make it 11. He came unto his own, and his own received him not. But as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of Alahym, even to them that believe on his name, which were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of Alahym. And the word was made flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his esteem, the esteem as of the only begotten of the Abba, full of favor and truth. When we turn around and we sit back and we see this here, right? He says, as the only begotten of the Father, full of favor and truth, right? An offering of a firstborn son, it's going to sit back and look at what? There go the favor. Where did the truth come in at? Come back to Exodus chapter 6 or chapter 5 and let's see where the truth come in at. Because we sit back looking at it, it's the offering of the firstborn son which brought us up out of bondage. See, we're going to have to sit back and see something with the firstborn son. That's what I'm sitting back saying. We were looking at what he had to offer and we didn't want it. He said, you know what? I'm going to offer my firstborn son. See, we just look at the lamb aspect and just cut it short. You know what I'm saying? But look on the other side of it. Miss Egypt mean what? Bondage. So then we have to turn around and look at what is bondage, sin. You know what I'm saying? Then we turn around and we get to see something. Exodus 5 and 1. And afterwards Moses and Aaron went in and told Pharaoh, thus saith Yahuwah Alahym of Yasharal, let my people go, that they may hold a feast unto me in the wilderness. And Pharaoh said, who is Yahuwah, that I should obey his voice to let Yasharal go? I know not Yahuwah, neither will I let Yasharal go. So now he asked them to let them, to tell him to let them go to do what? To let them hold a feast unto me, right? So let's look at Leviticus 23 and let's see what will happen in the feast. Let's just see what will go on in the feast. Let's say about 23 and 3. "6 days shall work be done, but the seventh day of the Shabbat of rest, a Kadesh convocation, you shall do no work therein. It is the Shabbat of Yahuwah in all your dwellings. These are the feast of Yahuwah, even his Kadesh convocations, which you shall proclaim in their seasons. In the 14th day of the first month at even is Yahuwah's Passover. And on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto Yahuwah. 7 days ye must eat unleavened bread. In the first day you shall have a Kadesh convocation. You shall do no servile work therein." So the first thing we sit back and look at to have a feast in, what's this two things that you would be able to pull out of that? At least what's in my mind. There's two things you should be able to see out of that. What would be them two things you would see? And they really encompassed. Well, one's encompassed in one statement and another's accomplished in another statement. And what would those two things would you be able to ascertain? Well, the first thing you should look at, if it's a Kadesh convocation or a set-apart gathering, that the word would be taught. The other thing about having no servile work therein is that in these feasts or in this gathering together, there would be no teaching of the gratifying or serving of the flesh. See, let's look at something in Hebrews about 4 and 7. And then get your Romans 13 and 11. Because sit back and look at it. The offering of this firstborn son of Pharaoh, this is what Yahuwah is actually offering you. And the people, as we're going to come around and see later, they didn't want this, what he was offering. 4 and 7. Ain't no 14. Hebrews 4 and 7. Y'all talk to Young Slim? What Young Slim got going on? No, don't come over here now. He said, again, he limited a certain day, saying, today in Daoud, today after so long time as it is said, today, if you hear his voice, harden not your hearts. For if Yahusha son of Nun had given them rest, then he would not have afterwards have spoken of another day. There remained therefore a rest to the people of Alahym. For he that is entered into his rest, he also has ceased from his own works, as Alahym did from his. Let us labor therefore to enter into that rest, lest any man fall after the same example of unbelief. Now that goes back to what we were talking about last night, about that ram of consecration and that blood being on that thumb of that right hand. You don't have to put your hand to do the labor. Because he said, don't let no servile work be done therein in his Shabbat. Don't let no servile work therein. Well, let's sit back and look at something, right? Look at John 8 and 30. And look what the man tell you. Because he said, let him go to have a feast unto my name. So one of the first things Yahuwah was offering was freedom. You know what I'm saying? Freedom from the flesh and freedom from sin, freedom from bondage. And Yasharal looked at, we don't want that. You know what I'm saying? This is what he had to offer. You know what I'm saying? I'm sitting back saying this here, like I say, because it just hit my head. Like somebody sitting back telling Yah, you don't got nothing to offer me. Or when you have something to offer me, come back and holler at me. When they not realizing he had something to offer, but what he had to offer, you didn't want. Because you wanted things that were more pleasing to the flesh. This is how people looked at it. They looked at, he didn't have nothing. If they felt like he had something to offer, you think they would have been pining to go back where they left from? No. You know what I'm saying? Because you would have looked at what he had to offer of such a great value. You would have been just like Peter said, where we going to go? You got the words of eternal life. I'm not trying to go from around you. You know what I'm saying? What you had to offer, I'm going to take that. I ain't going where they going. Eight and 30. John. And as he spake these words, many believed on him. Then said Yahusha to those Yahudim which believed on him. So you got to remember now, he's standing amongst all these people, and he ain't talking to everybody. He only talking to them that believe. But there's a whole bunch of people standing out there, though, ain't it? But yet that word ain't for all the people that's standing out there. Yeah, it's not for everybody that's standing out there. Even though there's a whole bunch of people, it said that this man turned around and only spoke to them that believed. Only spoke to them that believed. He wasn't speaking to everybody. He said, if you continue in my word, then you are my disciples indeed, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. They answered him, we be Abraham's seed, and we were never in bondage to any man. How say thou, ye shall be made free? See, that's the first thing John the Baptist or Yachanan and Mercer told them people. He said, don't come around here talking about you Abraham's seed. Abraham, he said, Alahym able to raise stones up under Abraham. See, that's the key thing that get us messed up in the game. We sit back looking at, I'm Abraham's seed. I'm Abraham's seed. I'm Israel. I'm Israel. So what? So was Ahab. So was Saul. You know what I'm saying? So was Jeroboam. So was Rehoboam. What's your point? You know what I'm saying? So was Uzziah, right? When he went up there and offered that strange incense on the altar, right, and got killed. Or offer incense on the altar. So what? What does that mean? You know what I'm saying? So was Judas. He was Israel. He was Abraham's seed. What's your point? And the reason why I say that, all the men who died in the wilderness, they were Israel too. The point of the statement is all them people sat down and heard the same word that the rest of them heard, and the word had none effect on them. Because you better believe Ahab heard the word. Before he became king, you think he wasn't raised hearing the word? Then it said king's supposed to have a copy of the Torah. You think he didn't read it? You think them people, they knew the same info, they heard the same things we hearing right now say the testimony of Mashiach. And still didn't believe. All the people standing out there in the wilderness, right? I mean, standing out there on Pentecost, they heard the same word that 3,000 people heard. Why did it move to 3,000 and not the rest of them? You thought they were going to come back later and get it? Maybe they did. You know, maybe they didn't. Only y'all know, because I wasn't there. YAHUSHA answered them, truly, truly, I say unto you, whosoever commits sin is the servant of sin. There shall be no servile work being done on no Shabbat. So you sit back and look at it. If Mashiach is your rest, he say, come unto me, all ye that labor, and I'll give you rest. He your Shabbat. And you doing what you want to do in him, you defiling it. You defiling it. You know what I'm saying? You breaking the commandment. You breaking the instruction. Because, you know, some people like, see, the Messiah is our Shabbat, so it don't matter when we work. Well, he said don't do no servile work therein in it. So if he your Shabbat and you doing what you want to do, you defiling it. Which means you swore falsely. Which means them 7 times or them 7 abominations or the avenging of Cain sevenfold, that's going to fall on you. You know what I'm saying? That's a hard pill to swallow. Real one, you know what I'm saying? But that's just the reality of it. Because he said have a set apart gathering and don't do no service on that day. No servile work. That's why he say you got to labor to cease from your own deeds. This is what he was bringing to you when he offered up his firstborn son. Because he say, let them have a feast unto me. So in this feast, he was going to teach you not to do what you want to do on my rest. And I'm going to teach you my ways. I'm going to have a gathering. Basically, I'm going to have a gathering to set you apart from everybody else. And then when you look at the gathering, what is that gathering? That's the gathering into his body. This is going to set you apart from everywhere else, which is what we're going to get to with these words about you can't approach this man to eat his bread with some of these things on you. When you look at English and you see superfluous or you see broken-footed or you see crook back and all these things, you're going to look at these natural things that it's talking about. But when you look at beneath the surface, you're going to see, boy, if you got these certain blemishes, you can't even step to this man. You know what I'm saying? Because he said he came to make us kings and priests. And this is from Leviticus 21, which is a statute for the priests. So if by this man's blood he makes us kings and priests, then we got to make sure we don't have no blemishes so we can eat the bread or offer the bread of our Alahym, or we can't do it. You know what I'm saying? That's the same way we were looking at leprosy. Leprosy is a blemish of the skin. So something has to go down to get that leprosy off of you. Then you're clean and you can approach. Because you can't approach the Alahym unclean. He will not accept it. That's why he told Moses, man, y'all need to take them shoes up off your feet. This set apart ground. You can't come in here dirtying this up. Because if you come dirtying it up, I got to kill you. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to do that to you. This is the next thing he say, right? If the son therefore shall make you free, verse 35. And the servant abide not in the house forever, but the son abide forever. If the son therefore shall make you free, you shall be free indeed. I know that ye are Abraham's seed, but you seek to kill me because my word have no place in you. Now again, this is coming, and a lot of that stuff that I said that he said to these people straight to their face is right there in that chapter. This man just sat back and say, I know you Abraham's seed, but this word ain't got no place in you. None. These are Yahudim. This is his own people who heard the same word that he heard, that, you know what I'm saying? And he's sitting here telling them, this thing ain't got no place in you. This ain't for you. Look at Galatians 3 and about 16, man. This is why he say everybody that's of Yasharal is not of Yasharal. Just because you are the seed don't mean you Alahyms.
Abraham had many seeds, but in Isaac shall have many.
Seed of the promise. Now to Abraham and his seed were the promises made. He saith not. I did, it says 16. And to seeds as of many, but as of one, and to thy seed, which is Mashiach. It's only one seed, and that's Mashiach, which goes back to you're going to have to be born of the word. How you going to be born of the word is from that offering of that firstborn son. He say from the firstborn son that sit upon the throne. So we need to sit back and see that the master was sitting on the throne before he came. John 17 and about verse 5. We already seen how he say he the only begotten of the Father. We already know from Genesis 21, he said your only son, your only son. Because guess what? He had a son before Isaac. His name was Ishmael. Right? He said Ishmael ain't your son. Because Ishmael's a child of the flesh. I don't know nothing about him. You got one son, that's the promised seed. I only acknowledge him. I know we got Romans 13 and 11 on deck too. That man say I only acknowledge him. So we had to realize that without the master, the Father don't acknowledge you. Now you sit back and look at it, right? Ishmael and Isaac. See, I'm going to show you something. I meant to deal with it last week. I'm going to show y'all something in a minute, though. What I was going after. Dang, I forgot.
Johnson.
Yes. And it says, O now, O Abba, esteem thou me with thy own self, with the esteem which I had thee before the world was. Now, we know Psalms 110 say, sit there at my what? Right hand, till I make thy enemy thy footstool. Because where's the Father at? He's sitting on the throne. Before I even dealt with it. Because it was something I was talking about this last week, and I ain't get to it. Go look at Psalms 15. Still keep Romans 13 on deck. Go look at Psalm 15. Psalms 24 might tell the tale too. They both say the same thing. The word is just a tad bit different. Psalm 15, it ain't much, but they ain't long. Psalm 15 and 1. Yahuwah, who shall abide in thy tabernacle? Remember, Pharaoh mean great house, right? So who going to abide in thy house? Who shall dwell in thy Kadesh hill? He that walk uprightly and work righteousness and speak truth in his heart. He that backbite not with his tongue, nor do evil to his neighbor, nor take up a reproach against his neighbor. Who in the eyes of vile person is contemned. Let's sit back and look at vile right here and contemned. But he honor them that fear Yahuwah. He that swear to his own hurt and change not. He that put out his money to usury or take reward against the innocent. He that do these things shall never be moved. So when we look at that, this man sat back and say, a vile person is contemned, and he honors them that fear Yahuwah. See, we'll turn around and look at, we'll honor people who don't even respect Yah's word. We'll give them more honor and respect than people who do. Let's look at it, he say a vile person is contemned. The Hebrew word for that is bazar. You know what it means? Contempt, to despise. Hold in contempt, disdain. To be despicable, worthless. This is what the book say how you supposed to look at a vile person. What is a vile person? It's ma'as, to reject, despise, and refuse. Somebody who Yah has refused, you would despise them. Why you think he told Samuel, how long you gonna mourn for Saul, seeing I done rejected him from being the king of Yasharal? A vile person is to be contemned in your eyesight. If Yah done rejected them and refused them, or they showing behavior that Yah will reject and refuse, you supposed to despise them. When we looking at despise, I mean, I don't fool with you, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't mess with you. That's why he said, how can you love them that hate Yahuwah? How we gonna turn around and love and honor people? We supposed to sit back. A brother was talking about this today, right? This real talk though. In America, right, if you got a problem with carpet munchers and pillow biters, they got a problem with you. If you got a problem with transgenders using the whatever bathroom they want to use, and you say, I don't agree with that. They try to make it seem like you hate these people or you spewing this or spewing that. I just don't agree with that behavior. That behavior is reject. I despise that behavior. You know what I'm saying? And now if you happen to be a partaker of that behavior, you know, you got to take that up with y'all. I pray that you turn your mind around and repent and be saved, but you got to take that up with y'all though. You know what I'm saying? But I know I don't agree with your behavior. That's contempt in my eyesight. I don't agree with that. Now, we sitting back looking at this man say, this is how you going to get in his set apart place. When you look at Pharaoh, Pharaoh was contemned in the eyesight of Yahuwah. You could even turn around and sit back and look at the master was rejected. Therefore, he was a vile person and he was despised and contemned in the eyesight of the people. Because what they were looking at him was, we don't want what you have to offer. We don't want it. You know Isaiah 53 say he was despised of men and rejected, right? Now we go back and look in the Gospels and we see that about him, right? They didn't want what he had. He said he came into his own received him not. Why they didn't receive him? They didn't want what he had. Let's look in John chapter 6 and let's sit back and look at it and see what he was trying to give them. And the same thing where you say you haven't sworn deceitfully or sworn to your own hurt. You get 1 Corinthians 11 and 22 go along with that. Because we were talking about that last night, but we didn't get to it. You look at John 6, right, about verse 42 or 41. The Yahudim then murmured at him because he said, I am the bread which come down from Shammahim. They said, is not this Yahusha, the son of Yosah, whose father and mother we know? How is it then that he saith, I come down from Shammahim? Yahusha therefore answered and said unto them, murmur not among yourselves. No man can come to me except the Father which hath sent me draw him, and I will raise him up at the last day. It is written in the prophets, they shall all be taught of Alahym. Every man therefore that have heard and have learned of the Father come unto me. This is what he said he wanted to have a feast in the wilderness. What you think he was going to teach them in the wilderness at that feast? You think they were just going to be eating? You know what I'm saying? Because they didn't know Yahuwah. They didn't even know who he was. They didn't even know his name. They didn't know nothing about him. You know what I'm saying? I got to pull you out here to teach you with me. So I'm going to teach you with the things that are eternal and Kadesh and everlasting. This is what I got to offer you. All the people sat back and looked at us. He got us up out of a place we didn't want to be at. But the things that he was offering and the things that you had to do to acquire what he had to offer, they didn't want it and they didn't want to do it. You know what I'm saying? Not that any man have seen the Abba, save he which is of Alahym, he have seen the Abba. Now, what do you think this could mean when he say, only those that have Alahym, they done seen Abba?
Because when he said, I am the Father, I want you to see me, you see the Father also.
So you're going to see the attributes of Yahuwah when you see the Son. You know what I'm saying? So when you see the Son through the scriptures, or your eyes are open, because that's one of the things that's mentioned of where you can't approach the Alahym. If you can see him, then you can see Abba. And if you can see Abba, you can see eternal life. If you can't see Abba, you can't see eternal life. Therefore, if you can't see eternal life, where life emanate from, what's left? Look what else he say. Truly, truly, I say unto you, he that believe on me have everlasting life. I am that bread of life. Your fathers did eat manna in the wilderness and are dead. This is the bread which come down from Shammahim, that a man may eat thereof and not die. I am the living bread which come down from Shammahim. If any man eat of this bread, he shall live forever. And the bread that I will give is my flesh, which I will give for the life of the world. The Yahudim therefore strove amongst themselves, saying, how can this man give us his flesh to eat? Now they sitting back looking at what he had to say, and they was like, hello? We don't want that.
It's just me, Dwayne. I got this today.
They were like, what? We don't want that. Flesh. But they weren't sitting back looking at it. Look what he said. The bread that I'm going to give is my flesh. Or even earlier up there, he said, I give my life to the world. So he was telling these people, what I'm going to give you is I'm going to give you my life. This is all I got to give you. But everything that entails me giving you my life is priceless. Because you hear somebody say, I'm going to give you my life. But then they're not looking at what's some of the things that come to y'all mind when you look at that you will get from the master when he say, I'll give you my life. What's actually in that offer? Because he's telling you he's going to offer his life, and then in turn he wants you to turn around and offer your life. So what are the things that you would get from Mashiach from that offer that he's making? Like with Mashiach giving up his life, what are the benefits that we will receive?
The promises of the firstborn.
So, and what else would you receive?
Everlasting life.
And what else would you receive? And what else would you receive? You got to understand, son, with him giving up his life, you know what the first things you get? The knowledge of the son of Alahym. Through the knowledge of the son of Alahym, you get the wisdom of the son of Alahym, which will give you the ability to war, right? The battle against the flesh with the Ruach. The next thing you would get is the understanding of the son of Alahym. And that means that you would dwell in him and he in you. And this is the true Alahym and eternal life. These things are the riches that surpass all understanding. You know another thing you'll get shalom, or the destroy the authority attached to chaos from this man giving his life up. You know what else you'll get? You'll get cleanliness. You know what else you'll get? You'll get a Kadesh way. You know what else you'll get? You'll get the Ruach HaKadesh, which is the eternal life ensnared in that. You know what else you get? A kingdom. A city that comes from Shamaim. Your name written in Shamaim. You know what I'm talking about? These are all the things that are encompassed in that. But when you just hear him say, I'm going to give you my life, which means I'm going to give up Pharaoh's son on the first, everybody from Pharaoh's son on who sat on the throne to him that's captive in the dungeon, you're not capsulating that, because all the things that are mentioned are not appealing to the eyes or to the flesh. You can't see them. You understand what I'm saying? You can't see that. But I can see what the sinners had. I can see what the sinners offer, and it's appeasing to what makes me feel good. Because to get that knowledge, to get that wisdom, to get that understanding, to get that ruach, to get the city from Shammai, to get all these things, you're going to have to work. And you're going to have to make a sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? And in the process of doing that, you go to sitting back looking at, I don't want this, I don't want that offer. Because it's going to take some time. It's going to take some dedication. It's going to take some perseverance. We look at that, we don't think that's nothing to offer. It don't glitter like this here. We can sit back and look at how Shaitan can offer you all the things of the world. And when you're so used to the things of the world, like I done told you before, most people in the world don't want somebody that's of Yah. I'm talking about vice versa. Most men don't want a woman who's really a Yah. Most women definitely don't want no man who's really a Yah. They don't want that. Because both of them are going to hold them up to something that they may not want to strive to reach. So it's better to be around somebody who ain't going to cause you to reach for that. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to challenge you and push you. Somebody that's not going to actually challenge you and push you. Like, how could you be around somebody who's supporting you to do better and they ain't trying to do better? That means eventually you're going to trip me up, because we really not on the same page. You don't have that same fervency right this here. That's why he say I give you a set apart gathering. I'm going to set you apart from the rest of these people. Because if you fool with the rest of these people, they're not going to be able to get you where you want to go at, and they're going to stumble you up. Because what I have to offer don't hold no weight to them. You know what I'm saying? They don't hold no weight to them. That's why he say, my word ain't got no place in you. This is not for you. You know what I'm saying? Because when the word got a place in you, you really, really hold it very, very high in your mind. Romans 13 and 11. Now, when we were looking at that John 17 and 5, right, and he said, give me the esteem, we know from Hebrews 7, right, he talked about how he ascended back on high at the right hand of the Father. He said, he that overcometh, I cause him to sit in my throne, even as I sit in my throne, even as I sit with my Father in his throne. So when we look at Mashiach being cut off, we see him of the great house, or who that's over the great house, his firstborn son is slain because the Father sit on the throne. Excuse me. I think we got to look at Psalm 24 just to establish that the Father is sitting on the throne. You know what I'm saying? He's saying that knowing the time that it is now high time to awake out of sleep, for our salvation is nearer than we believe. Then they jump out at midnight saying y'all need to get up out of sleep and get up out of here. What you think that's pointing to? It's high time you awake up out of sleep. Well, you need to get up out of here. Your salvation is near. Did they think they were going to get up and leave at midnight? You got to get up out of here. The night is far spent and the day is at hand. Let us therefore cast off the works of darkness and let us put on the armor of light. Let us walk honestly as in the day, not in rioting and drunkenness, not in chambering and wantonness, not in strifing and envying. But put ye on the Master YAHUSHA HaMashiach, and make not provision for the flesh to fulfill the lust thereof. This is what Yahuwah were offering them. When he offered his son up, this was, put this on. You won't fulfill the lust of the flesh. Because it's high time you wake up out of sleep. Them people got up in the middle of midnight. All y'all got to go. The salvation they were looking for came up, and guess what? When they were coming up out of it, the sun was coming up. It's daytime now. Y'all got to go. You know what I'm saying? It's the same way the master in the middle of the night, in the middle of the day, they come out there early in the morning. He already gone. He already gone. You know what I'm saying? Your salvation was nearer than you believed it to be. Right now, we at this time point, your salvation is nearer than what you think it is. You know what I'm saying? It's nearer than what you think it is. I'm talking about not only just individually, but our people as a whole. You know what I'm saying? This stuff going down where the time coming soon, the people, y'all got to get out of here. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got to go back where you come from. And then that's when it's going to get real ugly. Because like you said, when they go to screaming peace, great calamity going to come. So when a man come up, see, when the master came, he going to try to do the opposite. Remember what the master said when he came? You know what he told them people? He said, don't think that I came to bring peace. I came to bring a sword. You know what I'm talking about? He would let them know, I ain't come to bring no peace, nigga. I don't know what y'all looking for that for. That ain't what I came here for. You know what I'm saying? Well, what this man gonna do? He gonna do the opposite. He gonna come saying, peace coming, peace coming, peace coming. Soon as that come, everything finna break loose and get ugly. But see, we supposed to already know the word and know that. We know the master did not come to bring peace. So why would it be anything different now? Now, what y'all think this could mean when he sit back saying, even the firstborn from him who's captive in the dungeon? What you think that could mean? She just mad because there wasn't no more chips, man. What y'all think that could mean, man? Captive, firstborn in the dungeon. He said even the firstborn in the grave got slain. Let's look at 1 Peter chapter 4. About 4 and 5. Who shall give account to him that is ready to judge the quick and the dead? For this cause was the gospel preached also to them that are dead, that they might be judged according to men in the flesh, but live according to Alahym and the Ruach. But the end of all things is at hand. Be ye therefore sober and watch under prayer. Now you turn around and look at it, right? If he did say even the firstborn who's in the dungeon, who's captive, has been slain, we have to turn around and sit back, because he said he that commits sin is the servant of sin, right? So look at 2 Corinthians chapter 5, about verse 17, or verse 19, actually. And then from 2 Corinthians 5 and 19, you just turn around and look at, what's that? I just had it in my head. It'll come back in a minute. Oh, Colossians chapter 1, and about verse 15 or 14. Second Corinthians 5 and 18. And all things are of Alahym, who have reconciled us to himself by YAHUSHA HaMashiach, and have given to us the ministry of reconciliation, to wit, that Alahym was in Mashiach reconciling the world unto himself, not imputing their trespasses unto them, and have committed unto us the word of reconciliation. Now then we are the ambassadors of Mashiach, as though Alahym did beseech you by us. We pray you in Mashiach's stead, be he reconciled to Alahym, for he hath made him to be sin for us who knew no sin, that we might be made the righteousness of Alahym in him. So remember now, as he's offering up Pharaoh's son, Pharaoh offering up his son, right? Even the firstborn in the dungeon. Even the firstborn in the dungeon. Well, the captive that was firstborn in the dungeon. Then we had to sit back and look at something, right? We had to sit back and see that Mashiach had been made sin unto us. To sit back and look at, so he that is of the great house, that sit on the throne, even his son was given up. Because he became sin in order to get the people out. To free the people from sin, he had to become sin to get the people out of sin. So you see the reverse, because the lamb was without blemish. So we see a perfect sacrifice had to be made to get us out of that. But then you see on the other side of the coin, somebody who was sin had to be able to do that to free you from sin. You know what I'm saying? So Pharaoh's firstborn son and everybody, the firstborn sons of Egypt, got to be offered to pull you out of bondage. So you see, he both of them. You know what I'm saying? Because guess what? What the plague was? Death, right? If the blood don't be on your doorpost. Was there any blood on his doorpost? If the blood was on his doorpost, then y'all would have passed over him. He wouldn't have been destroyed, now would he? So it wasn't no blood on his doorpost. You know what I'm saying? Even when I know some are thinking, well, he was crucified, he had the blood on us. That ain't count. He wasn't a Passover lamb then, at least not for himself. That was the blood to cover us, but that wasn't the blood to cover him. Because he got to still fit this, he got to fulfill the whole law. So he got to be Pharaoh's firstborn son that sit on the throne. He got to be the one who held captive even in the dungeon. He got to be. So I mean, because the destroyer passing over the blood where it's at. Did the destroyer pass over him? No, it did not. Hello, DJ. The young Slim. Think about that though. I guess you don't need it. Y'all can grab the table you got right here. Young Slim. Now, Charlie, how you doing? You got all that infused water going on over there. What's going on there with your brother? He got some serious infused water.
You're one of those. I don't do left hands.
That's not my left hand, sir.
I know you wanted to take my left hand.
Yeah. This is my left hand, sir. You gonna say, well, we thought you had done did what you did the other week, boy, I had done fell asleep on.
I did.
He said, I did. But what you got on some peppermint ointment or something on your hand?
Oh, rosemary. And
All I got was some menthol. I got some Vicks Vapor Rub on my hand now.
well, that's what part of the flavors, you know.
Uh-oh, she got the snack bag. I'm gonna see you later.
Oh, and this is rosemary.
She got the snack bag.
Cucumbers, pineapple, and strawberries.
This nigga named about 17 different things.
Kind of exotic.
Yeah, I see. So you sit there and you think about that, right? Think about that. That blood wasn't on his hands. The destroyer that had to pass right couldn't pass over him. If the destroyer passed over him, then he lives, right? I mean, the whole law wrong. So what we actually see when he up on the state, he actually Pharaoh, because you know how he, like we already mentioned, he Pharaoh's son getting killed at midnight, rising up, talking about, man, y'all get up out. At the moment this man is up there on that stake at noon, this is when y'all say, okay, y'all free now. Y'all free now. Y'all free now. Y'all free now. But guess what happened though? When Yasharal is coming up out of there, they didn't want the freedom. They didn't want the freedom. That's why he's saying the eyes of vile person is contemned. You know, when Moses and Aaron eyed, man, screw Pharaoh. He's rejected. I hate that nigga. You know what I'm saying? You supposed to turn around and look like that at America, at Britain, at France, at Brazil, and anyone who shows himself to be an enemy of Yahuwah. You are contemned in my eyesight. I hate you, nigga. You know, any of y'all ever seen that? Now, I'm not telling you to walk around talking to people like that. Meaning, I don't like what you do. I don't choose what you do. Therefore, I don't mess with you. You know what I'm saying? I don't fool with you. I don't agree with your lifestyle and it ain't just got to be no punks now. It could be an adulterers, whoremongers, fornicators, liars, thieves. You know what I'm talking about? It don't make no difference. And you just don't sit back and say, well, I hate the punks and stop right there. You know what I'm saying? It could be drunks, potheads, cocaine sniffers. Anything that's contrary to righteousness. You know what I'm saying? You sit back and look at, I don't mess with you, bro. The reason being is because Yahuwah despises evil. Therefore, you're supposed to despise the same things that he despised. And if anybody is a partaker in that, that's what I'm sitting there telling you. Can two walk together except they be agreed? How could I be in fellowship with somebody that's in unfellowship with my master? I know I mentioned 1 Corinthians 11 and 22. We get to that in a minute. Look at this Colossians 1 and 15 though. Remember what he told you in Proverbs 16, though hand be joined in hand, the wicked will not go unpunished. Lock your hand up with a sinner and a transgressor, see what happened to you. Get 1 Peter chapter 4 along behind this 1 Corinthians 11 and 22. I'll show you what Peter got to say about it. Because at the end of the day, when them people did that, and I'm going to show it to you in Numbers 21, all that sitting up joined hand in hand with the wicked. When them people went to acting crazy and he sent them serpents out to bite them people, ain't nobody got spared. Them things went to biting whoever they caught. That's who got hit.
Even when they had to get the gold, they kept the gold. They had to destroy everything in the land, but some people kept it. For instance, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, you talking about with Saul.
When that came out, he was like, destroy everything, but that happened
And
to
they kept the
Saul.
gold.
That was with Saul. But no, he gave them, man. He didn't tell them to destroy nothing. They came up out of Egypt. They gave them that stuff. He said, take that with you. He had already told them they coming out with great substance.
He was talking about when they were going through the land.
You talking about Achan. Only him and his household got swallowed up. There was a plague amongst the people, and he said to get rid of that plague, we need to find out who got this stuff. That's when he said, I seen a Babylonian garment and some gold bars. Nigga said, I seen a fly Gucci fit, boy, I had to have it. You know what I'm talking about? I seen this money, I had to have it. And guess what he do like what most people do? Try to bury their sin up under the ground so don't nobody know what you doing. You know what I'm saying? See, I'm gonna tell you something, when somebody in the wrong, they don't want nobody to know they doing wrong. Then when you expose they wrong, they mad at you. Nigga, you did it, you doing it. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't want nobody to know you were doing it, guess what I tell you? Don't do it. You know what I'm saying? Don't do it. Because most of the time when you doing stuff that you ain't supposed to be, you don't really want nobody to say, man, you sinning like that? You? Yeah, you doing it. You know what I'm saying? Don't do it if you don't want nobody to know you ain't got that problem. Colossians 1 and 14 though. God. Make it 13. Well, make it 12. Look at you, boy. Guess you gonna start walking out the wild, ain't it, man? I thought he was walking the other day, but he just had them pulled up. I looked up and he was halfway across the room. It say, giving thanks unto Abba, which made us meet to be partakers of the inheritance of the Kadeshim in life. You gotta sit back. The reason why I say this here, hold on, I'm gonna read the next verse. Who have delivered us from the power of darkness and translated us into the kingdom of his dear son. When we came up out of Egypt, it was midnight. By the time we started coming up out of there, it was daytime. You know what I'm talking about? I've translated you from the kingdom of darkness into light. You know what I'm saying? All because he did what? Pharaoh's firstborn son, it's a Pharaoh who sit upon the throne, his firstborn dead. Because that's Mashiach. See, y'all didn't hear that part of this when y'all came in here, right? You realize that Mashiach was Pharaoh's firstborn son on the getting offered. You know how that possible? Because he ain't had the blood on the doorpost, so the destroyer had to get him. Then you sit back and look at people and say, well, he had blood on the doorpost, he was hanging on the stake. No, that blood was for you. That blood wasn't for him. He became sin, so that blood wasn't for him. That means I ain't believe enough to put this on my house.
Nobody died for him.
Nobody died for him. You know what I'm saying? He died for y'all. So therefore that means I didn't get a firstborn lamb. At that point when he became sin for himself, he wasn't a firstborn lamb. He just was a nigga. You know what I'm saying? So I got to come see you. But again, that goes to Numbers 14. Better him, because he said, I want to kill y'all as one man. So I'll just make one man and kill him. You know what I'm saying? I was talking with a brother this morning. He was like, yeah, man, I've been researching this about the day starting in the daytime and whatnot. And I'm like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, don't sit back and look at it that way, because you got some people, they hearing of it for the first time. So then they looking at it, you know what I'm saying? Brothers offering them scriptures for it, you know what I'm saying? And if you don't really know and you look at the stuff, it'll make perfect sense. Because you see all this stuff, day or morning to morning or morning to evening. See, the day started in the morning, but like I told the brother, just look at the master's sacrifice, do it line up. If it don't line up with the plan of salvation, then you know that this is probably not accurate. But you know, most people don't know this.
I mean, if you go to Genesis 1, it tells
But see, you got some of them saying that it's not. I mean, when you sit there and say, for you, that might be the simple argument. But for others, they looking at John 11 and 9, or they're not 12 hours in a day. So then they looking at, well, we the children of the day. How can the day start at nighttime? Then they're also under the impression that Adam was made to live forever. So when you come and say, well, so you saying eternal life, then death, then eternal life again? How can an immortal being lose eternal life? I said at that point, then the Father can lose eternal life. If we say Adam had it and he lost it, why can't Yahuwah lose it then?
If he was made in his image, made in his likeness.
You see what I'm saying? But you got to understand something. Just because we understand, everybody don't. Some of this stuff new for people. So they trying to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? They trying to figure it out. She got way over there. Thought you just had them.
She's a migrant.
She moved quickly. You know what I'm saying? But seriously though, like, I mean, that matter of fact, that was the brother who was here, who we immersed. Like, he don't know. You know what I'm saying? He trying to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? And he looking at it like, hey, this stuff makes sense. And all I can do is just let me ask you these questions. And then search the scriptures based on these questions. Just don't go on what I asked you. Search it out, see if you can find it. Because even when we look at Misraim, it was nighttime. We were in death, and in the midst of death, we come out, and now it's daytime. So you see life coming from death. In the same token like it was in the beginning. Because we already know in Genesis 1, he said, what? The earth was without form, and it was void. Then the light came. That's why he said we were in darkness. Now you've been changed to the kingdom of his dear son. You've been taken from darkness to light, from death to life. Because common sense tell you life don't come from death. You know what I'm saying? Death got to come from life. And if that's the case, if life comes from death, what the master came for? Because Adam should have never died then. Because he asked me, was Adam made to live forever? I say, no, bro. I say, what was he made from? Dust. Show me some dust that live forever. You know what I'm saying? But they don't promote. I done had a conversation, brother got mad with me about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, nah, he ain't made to live forever. What the Apocrypha, I don't care what the Apocrypha say.
It's interesting that you say that, though, because it's just like with soil, most stuff, you can grow it for a season, but eventually you're gonna have to change it. You're gonna have to put something into it in order for it to have life.
Yeah, because if you don't till that soil is going to die and you can't produce nothing from it. I don't care how much seed you put in, I don't care how much water you throw on, I don't care how much sunlight. Once that soil is dead, it's dead.
You gotta start it over.
Gotta start all over again. So guess what that means? I made some soil, I had to start all over again though.
And it's interesting because you put decaying or dead things into the compost, and then from that comes life.
Saying that the man works bear witness of what the plan is. What did he tell? He even told you that in John. Except the corn of wheat fall on the ground and die, it abide. He's showing you that life got to come from death. The seed go on the ground and dies, and then life, the fruit, come up out of that. He's showing you that. They got it because I done told many brothers they don't even count the nighttime period. So they like morning 12 hours, nighttime, morning 12 hours, that's a whole day. What did you do with the other 12 hours? There was 36 hours in the midst of that, sir. Because there's a 12-hour night watch too. They disregard all of that. Because Psalms 90 tell you like a watch in the night. We know a watch in the night is 3 hours.
If you believe that, can that be considered reprobate status?
That could be just considered you a blind dog that's dumb, that can't bark. You can't see and you can't talk. That's what Isaiah say.
I met a dog like that. No, seriously, like can't hear, can't see.
Matter of fact, let me finish the Colossians and we'll read it in Isaiah. That's all that means. You a dumb dog who blind. Because reprobate is you purposely are doing wrong. You know you doing wrong. You know, it basically I mentioned, he said, my people are destroyed from a lack of knowledge. He said, but not the lack of knowledge because you reject knowledge. You know what I'm saying? You reject what I have to offer, so I'm going to reject you. That's what mess us up. But really where that stuff come in at, bro, a lot of stuff that nigga been doing is pagan. So when they come in the word, they want to make sure the stuff that they doing is not heathen based. And in their zeal of not doing things that are heathen based, they'll take off and run after stuff. You know what I'm saying? They just read John 11, the master said it's 12 hours in a day, somebody lying. Man, he just was telling you 12 hours in the daytime. He that walk in the day see the light of life, he won't stumble. Say it's 12 hours a man, he say you can only work in the day. You know what I'm saying? Who works in the night? Nobody but sinners work in the night. Y'all know the old saying, the freaks come out at night, ain't nothing open at nighttime but dope houses and legs.
I'm only from Dayton. That was the first time I worked.
Well, you're not from Jacksonville, Florida. You know what I'm talking about? Cause boy, you come to Jacksonville, boy, the trap house is open after dark, boy. You know what I'm saying? Cocaine, whether it be cooked or uncooked, is a nighttime drug. I'm serious though. A lot of smokers don't, people smoke base during the day, but cocaine is a nighttime drug. Like methamphetamines is like almost like a nighttime drug, because you hitting this to stay up for hours. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you jump up. See, pills ain't necessarily a nighttime drug, because see, we call crackheads late night scramblers. Ain't nobody on no pills up late night scrambling. Niggas ain't out there scrambling to try to scratch up 8, 9, 10, 15, $20 trying to get a dub rock, dime rock. They out there. They might not be out there as bad now because, you know, the dope game is dead. You know what I'm saying? But y'all, some of y'all been riding around neighborhoods late at night when you was out there running the street doing stuff you ain't had no business and seen them bases out. You ain't see too many weed heads out standing outside at no 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. The bases was out though. But you like to see, but at the same time, drunks too. Anytime, most of the time, when anybody doing anything, they ain't got no business. They outside at nighttime. Why? Because you got the cloak of darkness. You can't be seen. You know what I'm saying? People who do wrong don't want to be seen. That's why he say they won't come to the light lest their deeds would be reproved. That's why when the people hear the word and the word condemn their behavior, they run and they look for somebody to make them feel a little better about what they doing, because they feel like a nigga shooting at them personally. Yeah, somebody is shooting at you personally. His name is Yah. You know what I'm saying? You're like, I'm talking to you. Look at what you're doing. I'm gonna kill you. You know that, right? Another person hear that same word and be like, you know what? I'm talking to you. Amend your ways so I can save you, because they heart gonna receive it differently than somebody who don't want to change. You got to want to change. You know what I'm saying? Where we at? About verse 14. He say, in whom we have redemption through his blood, even for the forgiveness of sins. Now, we looked at something, right? I seen it. We can't necessarily verify it. But they say how the Egyptians died scientifically during that time period. It was like some level how their houses were built. They dwelling places like some type of carbon monoxide poison raised up, and that's what the children breathed in and died. That's what their scientific explanation is, how they died. Not discrediting the word. Like what we were looking at, they weren't trying to discredit the word. They were just saying like, this how it happened. You know what I'm saying? But we know this straight like this here, man. Malachim came through and say, ha, that nigga dead. Ha, that nigga's dead. Ha, that nigga's dead. Straight like that. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you know, y'all still may leave behind just a natural phenomenon explanation on this how I killed him. Because there's going to be a natural reason why somebody died. Just like when he hear Herod, when he wouldn't get his steam up to the Most High, say, smote him in his bellies and he got a plague in his belly and his bowels fell out. You know what I'm saying? Huh? Nigga say gonorrhea.
When you said that last time, you said that he was like,
well, gonorrhea make your bowels fall out?
No, and that's when you was like, yeah, it does. And you was like, no, it don't.
I thought gonorrhea was just a venereal disease. Well, that's a mean case of diarrhea. Your bowels fall out. That's a mean case of diarrhea.
No, I thought gonorrhea was like blood in the stool.
No, gonorrhea is a venereal disease.
I don't know about this stuff.
So obviously you didn't take sex education.
I took sex education.
And they never talked to you about the clap.
They talked about the stuff, but I was
I mean, I know I'm old and all, but golly, and he talked to you about the clap. What that gonorrhea? Boy, I had a homeboy got burnt with gonorrhea 3 times from the same woman. That nigga said, boy, that burning vagina good. Boy, I said, boy, you crazy. I'm dead serious though. That nigga went and got burnt by the same woman 3. I say, bro, you ain't feel like you needed to tell her that she had something? So you went back in her 2 more times knowing she had gonorrhea, you ain't tell her?
So he just kept going back.
Raw at that. I'm talking about she burning straight through that contraceptive if you had one on. You know what I'm talking about? But see, you got gonorrhea, you got syphilis. You don't want that there. That's what killed Al Capone. He died from syphilis. Syphilis make you go blind. And then you know, and some people walk around here with herpes in their face. You know what I'm talking about?
We thought it was barbecue sauce. It was one girl.
Nigga said barbecue sauce.
At first, like, from the distance, like, she got some barbecue sauce on the left. And everything, it was herpes.
That's kind of bad when you got herpes in your mouth. Cause see, you can't get rid of herpes. I think it's probably a natural remedy you can find to get rid of herpes. All right, you better get it to some of these people, these blisters they got on their mouth. And I think that's about all the venereal diseases I can remember off the top of my head. But I thought everybody knew about gonorrhea though.
I mean, I thought it made you put blood in the
No. Huh?
I was watching the History Channel yesterday at work, and it was saying that like I seen how it was they were talking about aliens or something like built pyramids or something like that.
They always try to say alien built the pyramid because they don't want you to know your black behind built them.
And I was trying to say like I feel like man did, but like they ain't really.
Yeah, man, you was right. You built them. People who look just like you, who got your bloodline, we built them pyramids. See, they look at it scientifically, it's impossible to do it. But boy, we must be some real mad scientists, because boy, them people had us building that.
There's all kinds of frequencies, you know?
Ain't no frequencies, just get some niggas with some bricks and tell them go.
You know about that.
But actually the book tell you, he said to give them mortar and slime. What you getting mortar and slime for? But to put bricks together.
He built Hit Farm and Ramses, but
He talking about the 3 pyramid gospels coming down.
yeah, Exodus 1-11, we built Hit Farm and Ramses.
Yeah, they tell you, build the treasure cities.
But the pyramids was dealt before the pyramids dealt for Abraham, historically, if you look at the dates.
Yeah, that's what they say. I don't believe them practically.
By the time we got to the pyramids,
I'm just being honest, I don't believe them though. They do, like I say, they do say that. I don't believe them though. Really, like I told y'all before, the pyramids wasn't nothing but temples of worship. That's all it really was. There wasn't nothing extra special about them. They had homosexual activity and worship their gods in them. Yeah, like they do now. And they just like to paint pictures of themselves having sex with women, dogs, and people, and other men. Like if you actually look on them hieroglyphs, they show themselves with elongated penises trying to get in a man's booty hole. Literally. Not figuratively, like literally. I'm not trying to be funny or nothing. Like you can literally get up, walk in the pyramid, and see a hieroglyph of 2 men having sex, both of them butt naked. Or you can see a hieroglyph of a man having sex with a woman, and possibly with an animal.
Dwayne,
Yeah.
I had did a paper on that, little thing on that back in high school, not high school, but back in community college. They actually had a woman sitting on like one of the little pyramid things, pleasuring herself with it.
They were, Egyptians were freaks. So yeah, you probably got pictures of them masturbating.
They make
Yeah, teaching like she ain't knew nothing about that. I was like, shoot.
That's how they worship their gods. They were sex worshipers. What are we at? About verse 14. No, that's Anubis, the jackal god who rules the underworld. Yeah. Says, who is the image? This is Colossians 1:15 of the invisible Alahym, the firstborn of every creature. For by him were all things created that are in Shamahim, that are in the rats, visible and invisible. Whether they be thrones or dominions or principalities or powers, all things were created by him and for him. And he is before all things, and by him all things consist. He is the head of the body, the house, who is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, that in all things he might have preeminence. That's why he had to sit back and say, even him that was captive in the dungeon, he killed them too, because he the firstborn of the dead. I got to kill him there too. You know what I'm saying? And all that is to get us free. And like we were talking about, it's an offering that come behind that. Because he said to bring them out so we can have a feast in the wilderness to Yahuwah. And you know if you're going to have a feast to Yahuwah, what's the one thing you got to do? You got to make an offering. You know what I'm saying? But so when we looking at the offering that's being made, we didn't want what y'all had to offer. Because what was it? Like I told you, what was he offering? He was offering us a land. He was offering us the chance to be his people. You know what I'm talking about? He was offering us a covenant. He was offering us protection. He was offering us his wealth. And not wealth as in material things, but his knowledge, his wisdom, his understanding. See, look at what it is. It's at Ephesians 1. Ephesians 3. Ephesians chapter 3, right? Make sure that's the one that I want. I don't see what I'm looking for, though. 3 and 10 though, I'll work with this. Oh, there it is. I knew I was on the line. 3 and 7. He said, whereof I was made a minister according to the gift of the favor of Alahym, given unto me by the effectual working of his power. Unto me who am less than all Kadeshim is this favor given, that I should preach among the Gentiles the unsearchable riches of Mashiach, right? He called these riches unsearchable. You can't find this. Now look at Deuteronomy chapter 20 and look what this man say. Hello? Hello? Oh, you in the bathroom with it. I'm trying to, that's not the verse that I wanted. But look at verse 4 though, because something come to my mind. This ain't the verse that I wanted. What I was thinking about is somebody remember that verse. He said, I'm the one that gave you power to get wealth. That's what I was thinking about. But look at, hold on. Hello? Hello?
Shalom.
Shalom. All right. Say, for Yahuwah is your Alahym is he that go with you to fight for you and against your enemies to save you. And the officers shall speak unto the people, saying, what man is there that have built a new house and have not dedicated it? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in the battle and another man dedicate it. What man is he that planted a vineyard and have not yet eaten of it? Let him also go and return to his house, lest he die in the battle and another man eat of it. What man is there that have betrothed a wife and have not taken her? Let him go and return unto his house, lest he die in the battle and another man take her. And the officer shall speak further unto the people, and they shall say, what man is there that is fearful and faint-hearted? Let him go and return unto his house, lest his brethren's heart faint as well as his heart. And it shall be when the officers make an end of speaking unto the people, they shall make captains of the armies to lead the people. Now that ain't what I came here for, but it's just something that stood out. What's the one thing that stood out all this here besides the, I know that building of the house probably stood out, but what's the one thing that stood out?
Wife.
Not just the wife though. This nigga. Huh? You know what stood out? He said, whichever one of you niggas is scared and got curry in you, man, go home, man. Lest you make the rest of them fearful. Make you mess the rest of them faint. But you know what this really is? Many are called, few are chosen. Some of you niggas need to go back home. Because you not, at the same time, right, he said, who built the house and ain't dedicated it? Well, you turn around and you look at it. What did the master say? I declared the name of Yahuwah to thy brethren, and I have declared it. Because he was building a new house and he was dedicating it. That's why nobody else could come and get it. He planted a vineyard because Mashiach say, I am the vine, and this is the fruit. He ate of the fruit because he ate of the fruit of righteousness and the fruit of everlasting life. That's why he didn't have to go back home. He had betrothed him a wife. Ain't no other man get her, because when he laid down and got up, he was able to do it. Now, in reality, there ain't nothing wrong with that. Yeah, it don't make sense for you to, if you done just and got engaged, to go out here to battle and you die, and you ain't even get a chance to sample that yet. You know what I'm saying? He ain't gonna do that to you. You go ahead and go home. You know what I'm saying? Basically, but at the same time, this is what Paul mean when he says, thou be joined to a wife, don't seek to be loose. And if you've been loose from a wife, don't seek a wife. Because see, if you ain't got a wife, you can go out to battle. That's where you get this from. See, look at 1 Corinthians 7:22, what I'm talking about. You can see that's where you get that from. Since I read it. As I'm still trying to remember where you say that at, with that, what that is with that wealth. It's escaping from me. And the reason why I'm going ahead and line that up with this here, what Paul say, because you know everybody love to jump on Paul, right? And say Paul just ain't want you to have no woman. You know what I'm talking about? But you got to know where Paul be getting this stuff from. It's 7:22. No, it's 7:25. $7.25. Now concerning virgins, I have no commandment of the master. Yet I give my judgment as one that have obtained mercy of the master to be faithful. I suppose, therefore, that it is good for to the present distress. I say that it is good for a man so to be. Art thou bound unto a wife? Seek not to be loose. Ain't he sitting there telling if you engaged to a woman, don't seek to be loose? Because if you go out to war and die, you're going to be loose from your wife and somebody else going to get her. He say, art thou loose from a wife? Seek not a wife. So obviously, if you ain't got no wife, you can go out to battle then. So he telling you, if you don't have one, Then don't look for one. Get your black behind out here and go to war. You know what I'm saying? You got to know there's somewhere that he get this from, because people look at this, Paul telling you not to have no wife. He's not telling you not to have a wife. He's just telling you what the law say. The law just said, if you betrothed, don't go out there, man. You know what I'm saying? You're going to die in battle. You know what I'm saying? But if you ain't betrothed from a wife, then guess what that means? You can go fight then. So if you ain't got one, don't go looking for one.
How can we line that up with Yahoo when Saul gave away his wife?
No, Saul gave away, told him, man, you go bring me back 200 foreskins, I'll give you my daughter. That's something that I've been holding for about almost a year and a half. I shared it with Quad one time, and I'm like, I'm going to hit them with this that next week, and next week never came. And I mean, that's going to take a minute, so we'd have to separate that. But that's really talking about Mashiach, though, because that's what Saul did. What Saul's point was, if I send him out to battle, see, he wasn't actually betrothed to her yet. So he like, if I send him out to battle, he'll die in the battle trying to get 200 foreskins. So then the people was like, some niggas be like, see that nigga gay? He like this here. No, it was something behind that. That was a dowry he had to pay, but that wasn't Hebrew custom to pay no foreskins for no dowry.
Like foreskins
of men's penises. He say, go get 200 foreskins of the Philistines, I'll give you my daughter. Seriously. I passed that. That's a whole nother level. Matter of fact, let me think. Let's 1 Samuel 18. I'll show you where he said that, just so you know.
Look at that as a reprobate mind on Saul.
Well, Saul was trying to kill him. Well, Saul had already y'all had already departed from Saul. But his whole thing was he was trying to kill the man. So he thinking this will definitely get him killed. What it is? 1 Samuel 1 and 18. 18 and 17. This was right after David had done. You got to remember, David had already been anointed by Samuel to be king at this point. And the evil spirit had already came to get Saul at this point. And Saul said to David, behold, my elder daughter Merab, her will I give thee to wife. Only be thou valiant for me and fight Yahuwah's battles. For Saul said, let not my hand be upon him, but let the hand of the Philistines be upon him. And David said unto Saul, who am I, and what is my life, or my father's family in Yasharal, that I should be a son-in-law to the king? But it came to pass, at the time when Merab, Saul's daughter, should have been given to David, that she was given to Adriel, the Melelethite, to wife. And let's drop down right to here, right about verse 22. Make it 25, then we can roll. We'll deal with this another time, though. And Saul said, thus shall you say to David, the king desired not any dowry, but 100 foreskins of the Philistines to be avenged of the king's enemies. But Saul thought to make David fall by the hand of the Philistine. You know, David turned around and did the same thing when he did that to Uriah. I ain't going to put my hand on him. I send somebody else out there to do it. Same way that the children of Yasharal say, we ain't going to put our hands on Yahusha. We'll let the Romans do it. You know what I'm saying? That's what a nigga do. I ain't going to kill a nigga. Send another nigga to do it. You know what I'm saying? But that's a hard thing right there, because he figuring to go get 100 foreskins, they gonna kill him in the midst of that.
Gonna have to.
Look at Deuteronomy chapter 8. That's what I have on. By 8 and 15. Who led thee through a great and terrible wilderness, wherein were fiery serpents. See, we still got to get that 1 Corinthians 11, right? That fiery serpent made me remember that number 21 that we called for too, right? Because that's just sitting back showing you, and that 1 Peter chapter 4, if you join with sinners, you're going to get this. He's not going to look at you set apart, but you rolling with sinners, though. Sin is a disease, which we're going to be looking at in a minute when we make this transition to Leviticus 21. Sin is a disease. You know what I'm saying? And it's a communicable disease. It ain't like AIDS where I got to lay with you to get it. You know what I'm saying? Sin is like the flu. It's like the black plague. All the nigga that do is come around you and cough on you enough and you will be infected with it. You know what I'm saying? Straight up and down. You'll be infected with it. You know what I'm saying? And the next thing you know, you have become one. It ain't hard to do. I'm tell you something, boy. Nigga go to sin about 3-4 times around me. It's time to, I gotta get you. I can't be around that, man. Cause eventually it's gonna get me. Ain't gonna be but a matter of time. Everybody know when somebody's sick, this is man, don't come around me.
Yeah, but you got for that, but it won't come to sin.
When it comes to sin, you don't mind. He working on himself. She trying to do better. Let me be patient with him. No. Out of here. You know what I'm saying? Because the reason being is before you know it, your interaction and dealing with them, you start sinning. They might do something, cause you know what I'm saying? Next thing, because they always sinning. And it ends up infecting you. You know what I'm saying? That thing like SARS, nigga. What they had, what's the West one? The bird flu, swine flu. What's the new one they got now? The Zika virus. Ain't nobody met nobody in real life who got it, but it seemed to be traveling. Zika virus, that's what they call it. Now Ebola is real. No, I'm talking about, boy, you let them Africans tell you that, though. The Africans over there tell you, because I done heard Ebola long before these people went to talking about this here.
Bill Gates created that.
Man, Ebola was before Bill Gates. Them Africans been like, I've been being in school, nigga, talking about Bill Gates was a nobody. They were talking about, boy, that Ebola was eating niggas alive.
They say that's a man-made virus.
I mean, AIDS is a man-made virus, but the key to the point is, though, Ebola had been around for a long time. It's just in these days and times you hear them talking about Ebola and you thinking it's something new, because it was two flesh-eating viruses they would talk about in Africa all the time, and Ebola was one of them. You know what I'm saying? Niggas see them pictures of them people with Ebola in school, be like, man, come on, bro, turn the page, bro. I don't want to look at that. Because it was eating them from the inside out. You know what I'm saying? Like literally eating up all their flesh. It was a flesh-eating bacteria. I mean, just like anthrax is man-made. I mean, it come from cow poop, but it's man-made. It's effective nonetheless. You know, it's biological warfare. That's all it is.
You sit around the table, you trying to figure out how to make it deadly.
I mean, governments pay scientists big bucks to create weapons.
That's a crazy mind.
You know, I mean, they pay big bucks for people to do it though. Big bucks.
I want to do weapons in there.
I mean, shoot, man. I'm trying to sit back. What that is? Agent Orange, man-made. You know what I'm saying? They pay them dudes big bucks to sit in the room and say, "Come up with a weapon," so they can put that stuff in a bomb and drop it on the nigga. I'm trying to think of what that stuff was that dude dropped in Japan in the subway in the 90s. I can't remember what it was. A nigga came in there on the subway in Japan, dropped something and dipped. Knocked off about a couple hundred. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, sarin. Nerve gas. That's man-made. You know what I'm saying? All that stuff, man. Like I say, AIDS is man. But at the same time, they may be man-made, but they're actually Yah-made because a virus is a living organism. You know what I'm saying? So it takes, if you know how to do some stuff with a living organism, they just basically bioengineer a deadly organism.
They use that as cleansing. They look at it as cleansing.
But hey, man, you know, they want to kill some people. And they figure the ways they try to do it, it ain't working fast enough.
Exactly. Population.
But then at the same time, these people know that population, it ain't even really population control. It's kill nigga control. It's nigga control. Because these people know that there's actually enough food, land, and water to supply everybody in the earth. I actually seen a study, they say you can fit the whole earth population in this city. And turning around looking at how big it is and all the unoccupied land that's amongst highways, I could go for that. Because to say that you could put the whole world population in Jacksonville, Florida, that means this has got to be one big city. Because 7 billion people is a lot of people, and you tell me you can fit them here. But hey, if they got 13 million people in New York and it's about the size of a matchbox, I wouldn't doubt it. But see, they scare the people in because they know people don't know that it's not overpopulated. So they scare the people. I just seen the story, they say, okay, Bayer wants to buy Monsanto's and all this old other stuff. I don't know how accurate that is. I don't know if that's accurate though. Somebody posted about it, but I don't know how accurate it is. Bayer is a medical pharmaceutical company.
Yeah, they already linked in because it's chemicals.
You know what I'm saying? But they saying that they want to buy Monsanto, so then basically they'll have control over the seeds and the medicine and all this. Like, say, I don't know how accurate that is though, because the person did not post an article. She typed that.
But what I'm telling you is, it's already going on.
Well, I would already know that because they're all homosexual and satanic friends that like to worship the devil and play with each other's butts, possibly sleep with each other's wives.
They all sit on the same board.
Literally sit on the same board. You think it's a game.
I mean, freaky, bro.
Satan worshipers are extra freaky. These people gather up together and drink period blood.
Oh, whoa! Now,
about Santa Rosa? Santa Rosa? You talking about Santa Rosa? California. They do it in July.
Not just that. I ain't talking about just with. I ain't talking about just with it. I ain't even talking about. I mean, a part of satanic worship. Like put Bohemian Grove to the side. A part of satanic worship, they do that because they feel like it's life source. Because all period blood is what? The shedding of the uterine lining, right? So they feel like that there's eggs or the things of life in that blood, and that's why they drink it. Well, they do it all the time. You know what I'm saying? So then they like to take young kids. Indeed. You know what I'm saying? He said they like to eat raw steaks.
yeah, it's true now.
Indeed, you know what I'm saying? And they will go to a steakhouse in New York City and pay $400 for a steak that they could have went to any grocery store and peeled the package off and bit.
Now, they let you do that, they'll look brown sometimes. Look brown.
What's the need for the brown?
Make them feel better about themselves.
But in all seriousness though, in satanic worship, this is one of the things that they do. They like to get a young boy or a young girl. They like to molest them and get them in a state of terror and then kill them and drink their blood because they feel like that's what will keep them younger, is that the life force is in the blood. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, our laws say the life is in the blood. They look at that as a literal application, and I want to drink your blood. But that, why, some say that's why George H.W. Bush still alive.
He been drinking the boy.
I'm serious though. Same thing with Nelson Rockefeller. Those that subscribe to conspiracy theory type stuff, like, you know what I'm saying?
I got 8 heart transplants on top of it.
Because you got money. When you got money, I can get to the top of the list. I can sit back and look at. You got to realize something.
And they say Alahym probably was their grandfather.
I put it to you this way. They got the ability to kidnap and murder anybody they want, take their organs and sell them on the black market. You know what I'm saying? The average person ain't getting no 8 heart transplants.
Maybe 1,
If they lucky.
They got like electronic heart now. Like you just keep you keep your heart beating. You know?
Yeah. David Rockefeller done got 8 niggas' hearts in it. David Rockefeller got 8 people hearts in him. You know what I'm saying? He's still here. George H.W. Bush still, he's been in their 90s. I'm talking about David Rockefeller looked like a diseased rat.
Yes.
Just like that.
You know what I'm saying? Then you got George H.W. Bush. You know he got bread. Because I read an article about him where they didn't call him a drug dealer. They called him a drug baron.
Oh, wow, man.
Man, he was down with Manuel Noriega. Why you think Manuel Noriega went to jail? Because he was selling coke? No, we don't need no need for you, nigga. I got all the coke. Now I can lock you up, nigga. I've been selling guns. And who you think was behind Iran-Contra? Ronald Reagan say, I don't know anything about trading guns for hostages. You know what I'm saying? Whole time, man, George Bush was selling coke and guns. Kevin who? Oh, what keep him alive is he running up in young women. That's what keep him alive. He getting his rocks off. You know what I'm saying? Like this here, I'm talking.
They say Alahym probably was George's grandfather.
He may be. I'm talking about HW.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? I mean, because his daddy's name was Prescott. No, I think he was related to Barbara Bush. That what it is. But all that stuff, neither here nor there. Because a lot of these people be pulling up this stuff, they don't even know what they be talking about. But when you look at when them people go to talk about like, okay, Brad Pitt related to Obama, that's real. The reason being because they run a genealogy on anybody who becomes president of the United States. That's what they say, but most of them. Huh? Yeah, Vlad the Impaler is the inspiration for Dracula.
But I'm saying, I think that's who they say, and then you think about it, they all drink blood.
Yeah, that Vlad the Impaler is the literal inspiration for Dracula. That's who Dracula come from, is Vlad the Impaler. You know what I'm saying? All them niggas talking about vampires and all this. Well, I seen the dude where he said he was a vampire. That's old Bill Schnoebelen. He said he had a choice to become a werewolf or a vampire. Like it. I'm dead serious.
Anti-Levy, that nigga still alive? I don't know.
No, Anton LaVey been dead.
Before he died.
They say, oh crap.
He said something that he was like, yeah, when he died, he knew
Basically, they signed to say before he died, the Most High showed him you going to hell, nigga.
Oh, you know that?
Because they say his last words were, oh crap. Oh, for real.
That's terrifying. We're laughing, but it's terrifying.
No, it ain't terrifying. Not for him. Not for me. I say for him because he knew what he was doing. It'd be terrifying if somebody didn't know what they were doing, but maybe y'all let him catch a vision before you leave here. Okay, nigga. I got you, B. I got you. But
Dang, that's so crazy.
like I say, man, a lot of that stuff, man, like I was talking to her, but I know we getting off a little bit. She done assaulted him. Like, I was talking to a brother about this other day. I was telling you about this, about that New World Order stuff. That it's not going down like dudes think it's going down. You know what I'm saying? Because it's got to go down how the book say. You know what I'm saying? All that stuff that niggas be saying and all that type of stuff. Oh, man, like, okay. That's how it's got to go down, though. You know what I'm saying? It ain't going down. Nigga, this thing ain't about no FEMA camps, nigga. Y'all ain't told you nothing about no FEMA camps. You know what I'm saying? When them FEMA camps coming, it ain't to put the world population in there, it's to put you in there.
That's what they miss.
It's to put the Kardashian in there. It's not for the whole world. And then hopefully, by the time they start doing that stuff, most of us will be gone from over here. When all the persecution go down, it's going down against the Kardashian. It's not for them. They care less about these other people. They're not a threat. Oh, we're going to overthrow the government, the tyranny. Who cares about the tyranny? You ain't got no freedom, nigga. I got plenty of it. You the one worried about tyranny because this your home. So you trying to keep it. This your governmental system. My people don't run no republic. I grew up with it, man. I've been on, man, some of that stuff y'all ran across, man, we ran across this stuff in the late 90s. So when nigga come with it, you ain't telling us nothing nigga, like I told you, nigga, wasn't no Google, nigga, wasn't no YouTube. Nigga, we had to go read this stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? Because of Google and YouTube, I don't even read as much, because I don't want to read nothing off no screen. But most of the stuff, like, go read it for what? I just rather read the book. Unless it's about something that's gonna help me make some money.
They said something again worse than 9/11.
Man, but all that stuff there, man, them people just do this type of stuff. People been saying something worse than 9/11 gonna happen for 15 years. Now them crackers ain't made a move yet.
Last time you won't be made.
Yeah, that's on.
Man, look at man, ain't gonna do none of this stuff, man, because guess what? But did the book tell us they'll do stuff like this?
Well, it did say Babylon have become a pool of waters, right?
No, I say Babylon is a habitation of devils and every foul bird. But Babylon is a world system, so to speak. So it's not just America. The whole world is Babylon. The physical location is Iraq. But the whole world is Babylon. Because the whole world is either Christian or Islam, which is Babylonian worship. So the whole world Babylon.
Yeah, they could
Islam now.
It's not like you can't combine the two because they're one and the same, just with a different name. Islam and Christianity are Babylonian pagan sun worship or Babylonian pagan moon worship. Pick your choice. They're the same thing. So we sit back and we looking for a man to come in and say he coming to bring peace. Now look, we mentioned when you came in here, the master said, I ain't come to bring no peace. So that's a red flag. I know that ain't him because he said, I came to bring division. He coming to bring people together. Mashiach ain't come to do that. I came to separate the sheep from the goats and the saint from the sinner. But see, we don't look at that right there. Y'all come to separate, we trying to gather. You only supposed to be gathering with other Kardashian. Once you manifest yourself not to be a sanctified one, let me get from around this nigga. Let me get to Deuteronomy 8 and 18 and then where we at, and then we can slide right in and onto this here. But I still need to hit the Proverbs 16 and 6, the 1 Peter chapter 4, and then with one other thing. 1 Corinthians 11, 23. He said, who fed thee in the wilderness with manna? So guess what? When you were in sin, I gave you living bread. We didn't want that. which thy fathers knew not, that he might humble thee, that he might prove thee to do thee good at the latter end. So he was feeding you the word so you could make yourself humble. That's what he was offering you, humility. I don't want that. I say, man, that's just what all this stuff would come into my head. It came to like, yeah, niggas say, boy, you ain't got nothing to offer. And it just came to my head. That's what my people said to me, that I didn't have nothing to offer them. Because what did they say? They got cucumber leeks and melons. We had all this stuff in Egypt. You brought us out here to die. My flesh gratified in Egypt. You know what I'm saying? I can lay with wind, women, dogs, donkeys. It don't make no difference. I can do what I want to do there. He said, thou shalt say, and if thou say in thy heart, my power and the might of my hand have got me this wealth. Did you see how Paul say, by the favor or the grace of Mashiach, I can show you the unsearchable riches? Your hand and power can't get you that wealth. You're going to have to go through him. That's what he got to offer, the unsearchable riches of Mashiach. Didn't we just read on Wednesday, he said, I counsel to you to buy gold tried in the fire that thou may be rich. How about you go through the furnace of affliction and get those riches, the riches of eternal life, the riches of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of the way of salvation? How about you get that and call that wealth? We don't want that. That's why he sat back and say the poor man's wisdom is despised, or the humble man, or the destitute man. I don't want that stuff. That nigga, man, that nigga ain't got nothing. That's why he say if you think gain is godliness, you got a perverse and a corrupt mind. You think that the amount of money somebody possesses is going to determine if Yah is with them or not? He say, but thou shalt remember Yahuwah thy Alahym, for it is he that give thee power to get wealth, that he may establish his covenant which he sware unto thy fathers, as it is this day. So when we looking at wealth in this aspect, you can look at it in the physical sense as monetary wealth, which would have been cattle and land and even literal shekels. Or we can look at it as the spiritual wealth that he gave you, because he the only one can give you that favor and that power to get it. This is what he was offering us with the death of the firstborn, and we didn't want it. So I'd rather go back to Egypt and get their money. That's why we go back to what we talked about last night. As for me and my house, we will serve Yahuwah. So when you sit back and look at that, you're the house. Your body is the house. As far as this house, we gonna serve Yahuwah. Kind of, you know, everybody like to have that sign up in their, some people have that up in their house, that verse in their house. You know what I'm saying? Instead of having it hang up in your house, how about you hang it up in your heart and be like, this house gonna serve. Ain't no sinning going on over here, sir. I left that stuff on the other side of the flood. You know what I'm saying? Leave that sin on the other side of your immersion. You know what I'm saying? Leave it right where you found it at. 1 Corinthians 11:23. Come here, Lizzie. You cannot escape. Somebody pick you up, they're going to bring you back once they see how much you like to eat. They're going to be like, that baby, they're cute. Then they get them to the house, and she like this here, let me take you back to your parents. Verse 23. What is she doing?
She's doing her thing, man.
It's like she's scaling the wall. Like this is like she's finna rob somebody.
You serious?
Like this here, like she like, just be quiet and walk slow. Walk slow. Like this here, I'm finna creep and get the sandwich. We'll split it later. For I have received of the master that which I also delivered unto you, that the master YAHUSHA, on the same night in which he was betrayed, took bread. And when he had given thanks, he brake it and said, take, eat, this is my body which is broken for you, this do in remembrance of me. And after the same manner also he took the cup, and when he had supped, saying, this cup is the new covenant in my blood, this do ye as often as you drink it in remembrance of me. For as often as you eat this bread and drink this cup, you do show the master's death till he come. Wherefore whosoever shall eat this bread and drink this cup of the master unworthily shall be guilty of the body and the blood of the master. And that's why Judas had to die. Because he sat right there and did it, swore falsely, I gotta kill you. Proverbs 16:6. But you can't see.
I gotta pull this thing up there. I'm about to die.
Oh, you gotta plug it up. Proverbs 16:6. That's not what I wanted. 16:5. That's what I wanted. Make it photo. For Yahuwah had made all things for himself, yea, even the wicked for the day of evil. Everyone that is proud in heart is an abomination to Yahuwah. And though hand join in hand, he shall not be unpunished. So let's turn around and look at something. He say, though hand be joined in hand, you're not getting away unpunished. Look at 1 Peter chapter 4. Four and about 15. Make it 14. Make it 17. We just get straight to the point. He say, for the time has come that judgment must begin at the house of Alahym. And if it first begin at us, what shall the end of them that obey not the gospel of Alahym? So if he say judgment gonna start at our house, what you think gonna happen to niggas that don't listen? And judgment started, when you look in the wilderness, where did judgment start at? Right with us. And what happened to them that didn't obey? But listen to the next thing he say, and if the righteous scarcely be saved, where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear? How many got saved that came up out of Mizraim? 2 people. It said, not counting the women and children, because when he was speaking, he wasn't talking about the women and children. He said, look at Exodus 12 and 46. I know we done said it, but let's just put the script on it so they can sit back and see that. Out of 600,000 men, because if he's sitting back looking at it, he say nobody 20 and upward, and that means that's what he was counting. He wasn't counting nobody 20 and under, because that means he counted them to be children.
That doesn't mean that you are a child, just because what the 20 means, because you know, some people try to run with that.
Well, there's nowhere in the book where it said there is an age of accountability. Once you hear the word, you're accountable. Your age means absolutely nothing. Because guess what? When them children came out and cursed around there mocking Elisha, he ain't say nothing about how old they were. Kill that nigga. That man sat back and said also, he said the children of the wicked are made for the sword, so your age ain't got nothing to do with it. Once you done heard the word, that's enough. Once you can hear it and understand it and comprehend it, that's enough. Once you know, basically it's the same way this here. Most people won't spank a child till they can perceive that child know that they're doing wrong. Once I perceive that you know what you're doing, now I can start commencing to dropping a foot off in your behind. So that's how y'all roll. Once I know you know what you're doing, I can bust you upside your head now. Ain't gonna be no, I'm gonna wait till he gets 16 and that's when I'm gonna kill him. No, nigga, you knew what you were doing, you were 9, nigga. Most of us done stole out the store. You knew you were wrong when you were taking that bubble gum off that thing. You knew that wasn't yours. You still put it in your pocket and walked out that store. You know what I'm saying? Some of y'all done sat back, you were hunching way too early. You know you were wrong. You know you had no business doing none of that. Smoking marijuana. Some of y'all around here stealing your people's bills, sipping in the bike. Look at Pale. He said his head. You were getting the miniatures though, wasn't it? No. He was grabbing the miniatures like this here, sipping on some wild turkey.
I used to talk to late, way later.
12 and 37 is the verse we want. Exodus 12 and 37. And the children of Yasharal journeyed from Ramzos to Sukkoth, about 600,000 on foot that were men besides children. 600,000 men. 600,000 men. Hold on, let me see something. We know Sukkoth mean what? What that mean? That's the house, right? Or the tent, right? Well, let's see something with old Ramses. The old Ramses was a stone cold faggot too. No, I got a definition. Yes, son of the sun, child of the sun. Yeah, mine did, said child of the sun.
But you know they call, what they call their God.
No, that's interesting, because it said they traveled as from the child of the sun to Booth. Now, let's go back and look at that Judges chapter 5 we were looking at last night. Because I'm going to still get to this right here though, right? Look at that Judges chapter 5. Because we had to look at this. We know we looked at this last night, right? So because can't nobody else be coming up here talking about you need to rehearse the righteous acts. Nigga, you are not an entertainer. This ain't that type of rehearsal. Yeah, but like this here, listen to him. 5 and 11. They that are delivered from the noise of the archers and the places of drawing water. Now I'm gonna ask y'all a question. I'll stand up there. If it say being delivered from the noise of the archers, who is the archer? Who are them shooting arrows?
Yeah,
wicked one.
Not just the wicked one, but he say they that are delivered from the noise of the archers are placed to this place of the drawing water. I ain't gonna go into great detail. In Zechariah 14, it say the people go to war with us. So where the place of the drawing water at? That's gonna be in the city. That's gonna be in Jerusalem. Remember, Armageddon is just a place of a battle.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
So it's the place of the drawing water because that's where the water of life will emanate from. He say they shall rehearse the righteous acts of Yahuwah, even the righteous acts towards the inhabitants of his villages and Yasharal. Then shall the people of Yahuwah go down to the gates. Awake, awake, Deborah. Awake, awake, utter a song. Arise, Barak. Lead thy captivity captive, thou son of Abinom. Now sit back and you think about it, right? If they coming from the city, that's the child of the sun, right? They coming from one city. This is the child of the sun. Child of the sun. Now they going, as they journeying, they going to Sukkot. They going from this place to the place of booths. You know what I'm saying? The place where the booths at, or the place of the tents. What did Paul tell us about what he was desiring to be clothed with from Shamahi? Wasn't he asking for a booth or a tabernacle to cover him up? So why would he ask for that? Because he's a child of the sun. How did they become a child of the sun? Because I offered up a son. You know what I'm saying? I offered up this is what he's offering. See, this is one of the other things that he was offering that we didn't want. I'm going to make you a son of Alahym now. I don't want that. I want to be a son of the devil. Because they wanted to go back to Egypt. You know what I'm saying? They wanted to go back. I want to be a devil. I don't want to be godly. Why would I want that? That's crazy. That's insane. Because the reason being, because with the things that y'all had to offer, we don't really put that weight on it like that. You know what I'm saying? And after a while, when it's like maybe be some adversity or some struggling or some suffering, and then something pops up that's a little bit more appeasing to the eye or appeasing to the flesh, I'll go for that instead. And I'll latch on to that. And then it's going to drain every bit of life out of you and kill you. And then the next thing you know, 7 other spirits move into you, and the last state of the man was worse than the beginning. Because you believe you me. You can't fool with no sinner and come out better. Regardless of what I'm saying, you ain't going to come out better. You're going to die. You're going to come out worse. You're going to come out worse. You know what I'm saying? This is why he removed us from Egypt. Because if I keep y'all here, y'all going to get worse and worse. Then when he removed us and gave us his word, and then we wanted to intermingle with all the nations. And what happened with us? Did we get better or got worse? We got worse. You know what I'm saying? You had too many examples of that, right? So the word in Hebrew for rehearsing the righteous acts or rehearse is tanah. It just means to recount and retell. That's what it means. So when you're talking about rehearsing the righteous acts, who came and worked righteous acts? Romans 8:1, it'll tell you who worked them. So because she said, let captivity be taken captive. We just read, I smote the firstborn that was captive, that in the dungeon who was captive. Come remove bondage. And you know what happens when you know what was happening, right? Because now this is how because I had to thank y'all for that. I had to set something up for the segue to slide to Leviticus 21. Because now that you become a child of the sun, or literally a son of the sun, or a child of the day, or a child of the morning star, now you can come to the booth. Because you got to be born again to be able to enter into that booth, to dwell in his house. He said, my father's house are many mansions. I go to prepare a place for you. Remember, Pharaoh mean great house. And they traveled from the beat. Let's go from the child of the sun to the booth. It said they'll retell the righteous acts for the inhabitants of the villages of Yasharal. So when we look at Ezekiel 39, they say they were dwelling in unwalled villages and booths. You know what I'm talking about? It wasn't no wall around the land. That's what we tell you in Ezekiel 38, my partners. They dwell in unwalled villages, dwelling in booths. Why? Because the child, they traveled from there. You got to sit back and look at, we coming from the child of the sun to dwell in a booth. We coming to be, what we basically looking at is being born again, and then basically coming back to the land to dwell with the Father is what we're looking at. You know what I'm saying? And what allowed that to happen? A firstborn son's got to be offered. This is the value what Yahuwah had to offer. A sinner can't offer you to become a child of Alahym. They can't give you that offer. Pharaoh couldn't give you that. Yahuwah could give you that. I don't want it. I don't want it. He talking about all we got in front of us is this bread. We had cucumbers, leeks, and melons. Oh, so you talking about my bread, huh? Don't worry about it. I give you some quails. So much quails that it'll come up out your nostrils, nigga. I still ain't reading number 21, but you remember number 21? When they did that, he sent them fiery serpents. Whoever got bit died. He didn't sit back and say, only the righteous not going to get bit. Just the sinners going to get. Everybody getting bit. Ain't nobody exempt. You out here with them, everybody getting bit. That show you better separate. Even when you sit back and look at when they worship the golden calf, they say, who on y'all side? Them Levites jumped up. Let's get it. Because I ain't had nothing to do with that. Because if they didn't, kill all you niggas. Because you over there with them. See, that's why he say, who on y'all side? Them boys jumped up. We on his side. Because if you don't, you dying with them. See, we don't sit back and look at it. Well, if I'm living right, what difference do it make? Okay. I'll take one and leave the other. See, that's what I sit back and look at. See, he'll do that there. Okay, play with it. Because we got too many instances. He say kill them. The only time he say don't kill somebody, he say unless they mark in my forehead. And then he say if they sigh at the abominations in the land. You know what I'm saying? When they see it, it make them sad. Romans 8:1. There is therefore now no condemnation to them which are in YAHUSHA HaMashiach, who walk not after the flesh, but after the Ruach. For the law of the Ruach of life in YAHUSHA HaMashiach have made me free from the Torah of sin and death. For what the Torah could not do, in that it was weak through the flesh, Alahym sending his own son in the likeness of sinful flesh, and for sin condemned sin in the flesh. So you know we sit back and do it, because to fulfill this, not just a lamb, let me kill the firstborn son in the likeness of sinful flesh that condemns sinful flesh in the flesh, condemning Egypt for what they did, and therefore now my people can be free to walk in my ruach because of righteousness, because you actually put this blood on your doorpost. That the righteousness of the Torah might be fulfilled in us who walk not after the flesh, but after the Ruach. So the righteousness of the word can't be fulfilled in you if you walk in the flesh. It can't. It's impossible. This is why he tell you to separate from people, because a carnal-minded person it ain't going to do nothing but pull you back in the flesh. That's what's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? You could be walking spiritual for a good little minute, get around too many carnal-minded people, and the next thing you know, you be like, you know what? Let me go in the back before I've been undid something. Before I've been unsaid something. Because that's what they do. You know what I'm saying? That's why he say in Proverbs, I tell y'all this recently a lot, he say, guard your heart because the issues in life and death flow from it. So if you don't guard your mind, nigga get you. Pull you right up on under. Leviticus 21 though. What you talking about, Tizzy? Let's look at Leviticus 21, right? Oh my. We ain't gonna get a lot of this in depth. So I look at the time. Leviticus 21 and where we at, right? About 17. He say, speak unto Aaron, saying, whosoever he be of thy seed in their generations. You heard what he said? We already read 8. He say, it ain't but one. He say, how many seeds is it? One. Mashiach. He's speaking to Aaron. Aaron high priest. Mashiach high priest. So he say, anybody that's of Mashiach seed, that's who he talking to now. Speak unto Aaron, saying, whosoever he be of thy seed in their generations that have any blemish, let him, or that he have, he said, let him not approach to offer the bread of his Alahym. Remember how we just read in 1 Corinthians chapter 11, you better examine yourself, make sure you worthy to take this here, or unless you die, right? We look at blemish. Pronounce that for me, sir. You see what that says? A spot, a defect, a moral stain. That's one of the things I had on there.
I'm saying.
But look, you know what it said? Because you know, ain't no such thing as moral with us. I said that's white people stuff. You know what I'm talking about? You know, in Jude, he said that he didn't even want a garment spotted by the flesh because it'll have a defect. So when we're looking at a defect or a spot, let's look at something in Job 11 and 13. Just keep your finger on Leviticus 21. So if you got this on here, you cannot offer the bread. You can't come eat that. Because now you're going to be swearing falsely, like we talked about last night. And you're going to have a problem. We ain't got enough time to spell all the words out today, though. Job 11 and 13. I just got to get there. Listen what he tell you. If thou prepare thy heart, stretch out thy hands towards him. If iniquity be in thy hand, put it far away. So if you got a blemish on you, you need to get that away from you. That's the same thing he said about the sinners. He talking about they blemishes in your feet, spots. I think that's what Jude said. Let me make sure that's what Jude said. Yeah, I know Jude said that. Yeah, right here in verse 12. These are spots in your feasts of love, when they feast with you, feeding themselves without fear. Clouds they are without water, carried about of winds, trees whose fruit wither, without fruit, twice dead and plucked up by the roots. That's rough. You ain't got no root, your fruit's dead. You know what I'm talking about? You ain't got no ruach in you, and you just staining up everywhere. You got a blemish. So you know what he's telling you? They can't come off of this bread. They got blemishes on them. He says, if iniquity be in thy hand, put it far away, and let not wickedness dwell in thy tabernacles. For then shalt thou lift up thy face without spot. Yea, thou shalt be steadfast and shalt not fear. So let's look at something what John say right here in life. 1 John 3 and 22. So the first key thing we got to see to be able to come up off of their bread, can't be no sin on you. Or you can't even approach. First John 3 and 21. Make it about say 18. 3 and 18. My little children, let us not love in word, neither in tongue, but in deed and in truth. And hereby we know that we are of the truth, and shall assure our hearts before him. For if our heart condemn us, Alahym is greater than our heart, and know all things. Beloved, if our heart condemn us not, then we have confidence towards Alahym. And whatsoever we ask, we receive of him, because we keep his commandments and do those things that are pleasing in his sight. So when you sit back and you realize that you remove that blemish and you get this stuff, he said, then you can lift up your face and you'll be without spot. You'll have confidence, right? See, look at John chapter 11 and look at the confidence the master has. John 11 and 39. YAHUSHA said, take away the stone, Martha, the sister of him that was dead, and saith unto him, Master, by this time he stink, for he hath been dead 4 days. YAHUSHA said unto her, said I not unto thee that if thou would believe, thou should see the esteem of Alahym? Then they took away the stone from the place where the dead was laid, and YAHUSHA lifted up his eyes and said, Abba, I thank thee that thou hast heard me. And I knew that thou hear me always, but because of the people which stand by, I said it, that they may believe that thou hast sent me. You see that confidence he had? He said, I know you hear me. How many of us sit back and be like, well, I know he hear me always. But do you see the key thing what he said and why he sat back and said that he hear him always? But not only that, there, because he always does the things that please him. You know what I'm saying? If you want to be heard, that's what you have to do. You got to do the things that please him, and then he will hear you. And he will grant your request. And if these are the things that please him is, that blemish got to be gone. It can't be no spots. Ephesians 5 and 26. And see, and I wanted, like I said, see, we'll come back most high willing on the Shabbat with everybody present. Because we got to work that and see what I wanted to work with this actually, which I realized putting both of them together was not a strong thing to do. What we were talking about the first half with the offering of Pharaoh, because we have to work this part right here in to get all this stuff away with the law of leprosy and the cleansing of leprosy. You know what I'm saying? Because leprosy is a blemish. And there's certain things that had to be done to cleanse you from that blemish, like we talked about last night. What did he take on that? Blood and oil. You know what I'm talking about? The blood of Mashiach, the Ruach of Alahym, purge all that stuff away. The words that I speak unto you, they are Ruach and they are life. The word will get these blemishes away. The blood will sanctify you. You know what I'm talking about? So this stuff got to be removed, so we had to come back with that plus, because we want to spell some of these words out, because one of these words ain't going to tell you nothing. And it's the crook back. They ain't really going to tell you nothing. You know what I'm saying? You have to spell that out. And what I just said? What I just say?
Ephesians 5.
5 and 26. Make it, yeah, 25 is cool. Husbands, love your wives, even as Mashiach also loved the body and gave himself for it, that he might sanctify it and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word. See, when we sit back and we go back and look at the law of leprosy, it talk about how it washes some of this stuff away. And what's the only way to get rid of a spot or a blemish? You got to wash it. Say that he might present it to himself an esteemed house, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, that it should be kadesh or without blemish, no defects, no moral stains, or no sin. Let's come on back and let's look at superfluous in Leviticus 21. And we're in verse 18. For whatsoever man he be that have a blemish, he shall not approach. So you can't even approach the Alahym with sin. Can't even come to him. Or a lame, or he that have a flat nose, or anything superfluous. I missed the flat nose. My bad. So what you think this mean about you can't approach to him if you're blind? What you think that means? Say you can't come to him if you're blind. Obviously, you can't approach the Mashiach. You know, like if you can't see him, he say, Father, the world have not known thee. They can't see you. You know what I'm saying? Say the word he came unto his own and his own received, they couldn't see. See, where is that at? Acts chapter 28. Why do I got Numbers 21? Acts chapter 28 and about 18, I want to say. My apologies, 25. Matter of fact, make it 23. When they had appointed him a day that there came many to him into his lodging, to whom he expounded and testified the kingdom of Alahym, persuading them concerning YAHUSHA, both out of the Torah of Moses and out of the prophets, from morning till evening. You see how they sit back and they'll see the day start the daytime right there. See, it said morning to evening. They just see that, they'll read something like that and run. All it just meant is that he started from the daytime and went till nighttime. It had nothing to do about when the day started, when it don't start. It just states plainly, he preached from morning to evening. You know what I'm saying? Some believe the things which were spoken and some believe not. This is again another example. Just because somebody's sitting there hearing the word don't mean they believe it. And when they agreed not among themselves, they departed after that Paul had spoken one word. Well spake the Ruach HaKadosh by Yeshayahu the prophet unto our fathers, saying, Go unto this people, saying, Hear ye, ye shall hear, and shall not understand, and seeing ye shall see, and not perceive. For the heart of this people is waxed gross, their ears are dull of hearing, their eyes have they closed, they blind. How can you approach? That's why he say if you walk in darkness, you can't see where you going. You walking in sin, nigga, you blind. You don't know where you going at. You can't approach. He say their eyes have they closed, lest they should see with their eyes and hear with their ears and understand with their heart, and should be converted, and I should heal them. Go to flat nose. And the word we got here is anybody know what that word means? That's a horrible word.
K on R.
That is an awesome. Anybody know what that word means? It literally means to, not only that, they're to ban, to destroy utterly, completely destroy, dedicate for destruction. Then we just already read, he said he made the wicked for himself, say all things for himself, even the wicked for the day of evil. Hold on, right? To prohibit, but it gets even better, to consecrate, to devote, dedicated for destruction.
It's interesting because if it's the character, I think it would be the cat, which is to separate the wall.
Yes.
The Rosh, which would be the head.
Yes.
And then the Ma'im, which would be chaos.
Kill Satan.
Separates the head of chaos.
Kill Satan and his people. That's literally what it means. You got a flat nose, you Satan people. And you know what? And it's good with the characters that you sitting back looking at, and at the same time, the actual meaning of the word bears witness to it. Cut off the devil and all his children. Look what else he say. To exterminate, to completely destroy. Hold on, it gets better. To split, slit, and mutilate. Or to divide. So, Let's sit back and look at where we see some. You want to see somebody who got a flat nose? Matthew chapter 23. You see, you'll read that and be like, well, shoot, most black people got a flat nose. Ain't none of us can't come to them. They ain't talking about that.
Like how we found out about the highways and byways don't mean.
Oh, I mean, they heard that last night. You know, highways and byways don't mean what brother said, man. Matthew chapter 23 and 23. What does the word woe mean, gentlemen?
Destruction.
Karam then. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you pay the tithe of mint, anise, and cumin, and have omitted the weightier matters of the Torah, judgment, mercy, and faith. These ought ye have done, and not to leave the other undone. Ye blind guides who strain out at a gnat and swallow a camel. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you make clean the outside of the cup and the platter, but within they are full of extortion and excess. Thou blind Pharisee, cleanse first that which is within the cup and the platter, that the outside of them may be clean also. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you are like unto a withered sepulchre, which indeed appear beautiful outward, but are within full of dead men's bones and all manner of uncleanness. Even so ye outwardly appear righteous unto men, but within you are full of hypocrisy and iniquity. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you build the tombs of the prophets and garnish the sepulchres of the righteous, and say, if we had been in the days of our fathers, we would have not been partakers with them in the blood of the prophets. Wherefore ye be witnesses unto yourselves that you are the children of them which killed the prophets. Fill ye then up the measure of your fathers. Ye serpents, you generation of vipers, how can ye escape the damnation of hell? And you know what that is? 2 Thessalonians 2 and 13. Since you had a pleasure in unrighteousness, I will give them over to a strong delusion that they might be damned, because they receive not a love of the truth. So you can't come to this man and you love sin because you've been devoted for destruction. You know what I'm saying? You got a flat nose you can't approach. When we look at superfluous, it's sarah, it means to stretch out or deformed by an excess member. Now, what would you think would have you deformed by an excess member? This nigga's disgusting.
No, 6 months.
Thought you were laughing at excess member there. Let's look at it right here. Deuteronomy 4 and 2, right? And then swing it back to Revelation 22, because guess what? If you have this excess member, then that's going to make you Karam. Four and 1. Now therefore hearken, O Yasharal, unto the statutes and unto the judgments which I teach you, for to do them that ye may live. Go in and possess the land which Yahuwah Alahym of your fathers give you. Ye shall not add unto the word which I command you, neither shall you diminish aught from it, that you may keep the commandment of Yahuwah your Alahym, which I command you. You know what how that is? You know what niggas, you know a way niggas omit, because what he just said, you omit the weightier matters of the law. You destroyed. You superfluous, you got an excess member, nigga. You know how niggas be doing that? When they look in the book and say, I ain't doing this, but I'll do that. You omitting the stuff out the law. You superfluous, you can't approach. You can't pick, if you picking and choosing, you can't approach. Cause you deformed by an excess member. You either taking away from it or you adding to it. When you say, well, how am I doing that? Because you're doing that based on saying what you will do and what you won't do. Revelation 22. 22 and 18. See, say, for I testify unto every man that hear the words of the prophecy of this book. If any man shall add unto these things, Alahym shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book. If any man shall take away from the words of the prophets of the book of this prophecy, Alahym shall take away his part out of the book of life, out of the Kadesh city, and from the things that are written in this book. So this man sat back and say, if you want to take away, I'm going to reject you. How are you taking away? By saying, we ain't got to do that. Or I ain't doing that. You both of these, you can't approach. He just told you this. You cannot come to him. Because to offer the bread of your Alahym is to offer your body. Because when you take part of that man's body, you taking part of his death, which means you offering yourself just like he offered himself, which is taking us back to Pharaoh. That's why I say we're going to touch it a little bit, because it go into what we were looking at earlier with Pharaoh offering his firstborn son, the flip side of it. But this has to be handled with way more detail, because this is detailed. You know what I'm saying? See, we talked about it a little bit Sunday, and we did hit a few things, but this is detailed. Like all by itself, this detail. Like even if we don't even take that to put it in with the cleansing, with the leprosy, this detailed all in itself. This is showing you why people can't hear the word. You know what I'm telling you? This is showing you why niggas hear the word and don't get right. Because he say everyone who's been taught of Alahym come unto me. So if you've been taught of Alahym and you still got the spots and blemishes, and you got these deformed excess members, and you got the Quran, man, let you know I'm gonna destroy this nigga. What's gonna get you destroyed? This right here. The broken foot and the broken hand. Or the, what do you say? I'm gonna pronounce it. Shabal. Guess what? A breach. What causes a breach? Isaiah 59:1. What caused the breach? And we'll stop it right there, man, with the breach. Because all this right here, that scab and all that stuff here, we'd be all here all day. Because that scab go to that leprosy. You know what I'm saying? And we know leprosy is symbolic of death. Symbolic of the flesh. So we're looking at this here. What caused the breach? Let's look at it. Behold, Yahuwah's hand is not shortened that it cannot save, neither is ear heavy that it cannot hear. But your iniquities have separated between you and your Alahym, and your sins have hid his face from you that he will not hear. There's a breach. That's why we read that earlier in 2 Corinthians chapter 5 about Mashiach becoming sin, to take away sin, to bring the gospel of reconciliation, because there is a breach. He's got to close it up. He has to make a way where you can come unto him, because as long as you are appointed to destruction because you choose to do what you want to do, and you got blemishes and spots and defects on you, you can't approach to me. There's a breach. This is what I meant when I told y'all that Wednesday. Then I had posted about it. Dead serious. If you feel y'all going, what you alive for? What you got to be happy about? How you can sit back and be like, you ain't got your Alahym, but a man or woman can make you happy? Or your children can make you happy, or some money can make you happy, or a job can make you happy, or some status can make you happy. That means you ain't never was happy with y'all from the jump street. Because there should be a void in you so large and so huge that only he could feel it. And you would walk around with a dread and a sadness and a sorrow that no man could understand unless he knew y'all's word and felt like y'all had left him as well. But if you can walk around and feel like y'all, you see how Saul was acting. Saul was desperate. He ain't answering me. I don't know what to do. You know what I'm saying? Just because, please don't leave me like this. Don't do me like this. Please. There's a hole in me. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what to do. Man, y'all can leave some of these niggas, they'll carry on like ain't nothing happened. Won't even bat an eyelid. We'll stop around. Hallelujah for YAHUSHA. We'll stop right there, because we'll just pick that up most out with the next week. That's a lot right there, man.